Sao Paulo, Brazil, presenting Alex Pereira.
Hey, stand up guy, boom, 10 toes. Big body pull up in a Range Rover. I can change the whole game when I say so. I pull up, shut it down, yeah, they know. Running this game ain't a thing for me. I never switched up, no change in me. The only thing changing this season, you go against me, then you know that you tweaking.
A lot of people don't rate Jamahal Hill at all, and they think, you know...
Who says that?
I think a lot of people say that. I think some people, I feel like, don't think he's had enough experience or are popular enough to main event UFC 300, which is supposedly the biggest fight of all time. But I think there are a lot of people that are quite dismissive of his abilities or think he's not as good as... People just look at him and say he doesn't look like an athlete, and that's enough for some people to dismiss him. I mean, I think a lot of people think Pereira's going to walk through him.
It does seem like this is a perfect style matchup yet again for Alex Pereira. Because what have we seen ever since Sean Strickland? Striker, 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 striker. Honestly, I think Ankalaev is the guy. No, nobody likes him. They find him boring and he has controversial fights. Don't care about any of that. He can knock you out. He has done that. I think he's the guy with the style that is most intriguing for Pereira because he will take you down, beat the shit out of you there, but he can also knock you out on the feet. Whereas all of these guys that have fought Pereira to this point, they're just strikers. And Jamahal Hill, and we've seen this before. I mean, Gokhan Saki, when he came to the UFC, got knocked out by Khalil Roundtree, right? That can still happen. But we're talking about a two-weight world champion from Glory, like the highest level that you can pretty much attain these days. And he's going up against a guy who's he's a great striker. He's a championship level striker, don't get me wrong, but he is a striker and he's going up against the death touch with that left hook. I mean, it's a perfect style matchup for Pereira's kind of victory run that he's been on, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm desperate to hear the rebuttal because, of course, you think that this is going to be a lot closer fight, and I think there's a lot of people out there that a lot of people have that same opinion.
I've seen...
just to put it out there, I think that as well. I think this is a beautiful tee-up fight for Pereira to sail off into the sunset after 300 as the fucking night's hero. However, a lot of people out there think, no, not at all. This is going to be a lot closer than many people think.
Well, I think you can look at it from a bunch of different perspectives, right? Your perspective is definitely a good one.
Really good.
But on the other side of things, right? Jamahal Hill has only ever lost to Paul Craig. Jamahal Hill won the belt, never lost it. Jamahal Hill had a fantastic performance against Glover Teixeira, which was like coming out party where I think he looked incredible. I think Jamahal Hill has a very, very creative and nuanced and modern striking game compared to a somewhat old school kickboxing style of Pereira. And I think Jamahal Hill has a lot of ways and a lot of guile and disguise to his offense. And I think he definitely matches up with Alex really well on the feet. I agree with you. This is a very good matchup for Alex. It's another striker, and you can't really count out a kickboxing two-time world champion. But Jamahal Hill does things that previous opponents haven't, and he closes distance and attacks in ways that other opponents haven't. And you'll see more on the breakdown, but I think Jamahal Hill has the potential to knock him out.
Wow.
Especially because I've seen Pereira get hit with shots and I've seen him get knocked out. And I think Jamahal Hill could definitely replicate a similar game.
You're not worried about his holding his hands low and walking forward like Yuri did?
Fuck, hands low, bro. Hands low is like... Come on, like, hands low is
because
nothing.
That's the thing when you rewatch that fight.
The most dangerous thing for
Teixeira
Jamahal...
fucking left-hooked Jamahal like a billion fucking times.
The most dangerous thing for
He's
Jamahal...
like half speed of Pereira.
The most dangerous thing for Jamahal is the leg kicks, 100%. I think that is Pereira. Pereira could, like, win the fight in 3 minutes with leg kicks. Like, we could see that. Good thing is Jamahal does switch stance and fights predominantly southpaw, so those leg kicks are going to be harder to land. And we've also got good examples of Jamahal countering leg kicks. He reads patterns really well. Pereira is actually probably one of the most unpredictable and creative strikers, even though it doesn't seem like it, but you never really know if he's leg kicking or head kicking or
I think that's when you're fighting Pereira, that's the thing you're going into, is like be wary of the jab and the leg kick, because that's what you're going to get for the first
you have
round.
to be wary of everything for Pereira, and he's standing here like this, and you don't really know what the fuck's coming.
Well, he's got so much range, doesn't he? But
Exactly.
that's the thing you got to be aware of, is those leg kicks. So everyone fighting him, like, I mean, Izzy, knowing that he's still got his leg destroyed, so there's not a lot you can do.
Well, like, it's funny to say that, like, Pereira can just float in front of you and kick you. So you have to go towards him. And in every instance, he's been able to kind of pick people apart until Izzy made him come to him. And
we also saw Izzy for that fight was southpaw on purpose to avoid those leg kicks. He's in the game as a southpaw because of that fight. So, and it didn't work. it almost hindered him more.
Do you take into consideration who Hill has actually fought as well?
Well, you can
He
look
fought his dad
You can
and
look
killed
at
his
you
dad.
can look at a record
Oh
on
my
paper
God.
like that, and you can definitely say that, but that doesn't fucking really mean anything because
No,
we've
it doesn't,
seen
yeah.
people like
Rise to the occasion.
yeah, with nowhere near enough level
Yeah,
of experience.
exactly,
you know? Other people saying that about Ilia Topuria. I do agree with you though, because we've got Thiago Santos before the Glover fight. To
Johnny
be fair, he's the
Walker.
only person that's ever knocked out Thiago Santos. Thiago Santos had lost a lot though in
Yeah,
the
at
UFC
that
by that
point.
point, but no one had finished him. You've got the double performance of the night, first round knockouts as well that he got over Crute and Walker. In both those fights, he read a very precise pattern very quickly and knocked them out. With
Well, so
Go on.
all right, so no one here is saying that Jamal can't win. Of course, in MMA, there's always a puncher's chance. I think Jamal has much greater than that. I think
say,
Jamal
a
is
puncher's
like,
chance.
what I am saying though is this is a stylistic matchup that favors a kickboxing champion. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, yeah, it might be 30% chance or something like that for Jamahal Hill to win. After Strickland versus Izzy, I'm not surprised by anybody beating anybody on the feet in particular, you know? So I think there's plenty of opportunity for Jamal to win this. I'm not saying that he can't win. That would be ridiculous. But yeah, what it comes down to, and I want to ask you this question, if you were to put a percentage chance on it, are you actually favoring Jamal to win?
No, I'd probably have to say 50-50. I think it's a lot better than 30.
50-50.
I would say 50-50.
You think it's that close? You say
Yeah, I think
you
it's that
see
close.
you see a
I might
two,
eat my hat, which I'm not wearing, but I do think it's 50-50.
So you see a 2-weight world champion glory kickboxer who just knocked out, not too long ago, one of the best champions middleweight has ever seen, and then he's come up,
You're talking about
knocked
Izzy.
out Yuri.
Because remember, Izzy knocked him out, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, because he's also a world champion level kickboxer. He never won the belt in
You're
glory
right.
or
It's
anything,
true.
but he was at that level, right? So that's what you're saying. You're saying it's 50-50 on paper, Jamahal Hill versus... I mean, when have we even seen Jamahal Hill go for a takedown?
I don't think he
Why
needs
does he need to take him
He
down?
doesn't need to take him down. He could. I think Jamahal Hill...
Because he's... are you saying that he's as
I
skilled
don't know. We've seen
as a 2-weight world champion
We've
kickboxer?
seen so much more crazy things happen. We don't know how much Jamal's been training, how well his foot is healed, but we have seen multiple times over the past couple years, even the year, that fighters going into title fights completely injured and not being able to train at their best and still winning titles. Ty Aspinall injured his back, and he won the belt striking against a guy who is a striker. Sean O'Malley couldn't grapple whatsoever, fought Sterling, beat Sterling on the feet. So you don't need to wrestle Pereira to beat him. Izzy didn't wrestle Pereira to beat him. Jan did, and that was a very close fight. But I think, as we know, Jan gassed out. But I think
Well, you just named two guys that are known for finishing people on the feet as examples for... Because when I'm talking about the ground game...
jiu-jitsu fighter.
Tom Aspinall has been known for his knockouts as well.
I imagine on his bio, he would come under a jiu-jitsu fighter.
Well,
I don't think anyone would have been like, Tom's going to knock him out. I don't think that was any prediction. I think Tom would win later by
I
point.
think people thought it was going to be a safer route, go to the ground.
take him
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
but
It's not like Pereira is going to get confused by a takedown attempt from Jamal, where Gokhan Saki would by somebody. And I'm not comparing the levels. I'm just saying, obviously, we're talking about a
you're
stylistic
basically saying
matchup.
Pereira with Jamahal Hill doesn't need to worry about faking takedowns.
It's in
you
his
can probably
realm.
you can probably tell us because you've
no
done the
takedowns
breakdown.
in the breakdown. I tell you that.
But is
Striking
there,
matchup.
yeah, I mean, is there has he shown any sort of feints for takedowns?
I don't think Jamal's going to take him down. You can't argue with what you said. For a kickboxing world champion, it's 100% a good fucking matchup for him. But I think Jamahal Hill is the kind of creative and confident striker that could give Pereira problems. He's going to do things that aren't your bog standard setups, your 1-2-3s. He's stance switching and shift hitting and really good with his frames. I'm not saying that that's better than Pereira, but at least he's going to show him something that Pereira's not used to. And that's kind of how Jamahal Hill's beaten all these guys, by being unpredictable.
And that makes it 50-50 for you.
Yeah, it does, because I think
all it
think
takes.
Jamahal Hill is younger. I think he's confident. He's hungry. Pereira is getting older. That's not he's older now, but I think there are other things at play alongside the skill set that Jamal has that makes him a really threatening guy on the feet.
How long has he been out?
Oh, way over a year.
Yeah, I mean that
Quite a
is,
long time.
but it's a really unprecedented thing. Is that he was the champion and he vacated, but he is making his return at UFC 300 in the main event, having been off for a year, and you got to fucking overcome
keep doubting
Optimus
him.
Prime.
Pile that doubt on, bro. See what he does with it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure all of that is has just fueled him even more. Because people probably are saying that shit about him. I think he can get it done. He's a confident enough guy. He's definitely going to have all the belief in himself. I bet he's loving the opportunity to prove to everybody how good of a striker he is. And again, like, you know, when you look at challengers, there's different ways you can doubt them. You can doubt the credibility of their opponents. But if you've not seen them actually really, like Ilia Topuria before he fought Alex, what was the worst situation we ever seen him in? That one head kick that he took? Apart from that, it's kind of like, well, where else did he even stumble along the way? And I kind of feel that with Jamahal. You've got the arm break against Paul Craig, where he admittedly kind of fell into his guard.
You just answered your own question.
Right, yeah, but apart from that, I haven't really seen examples where his entire strategy is beaten in certain steps or stages. Like, he's trying to do this guy won this. He's pretty much just beaten everybody quite easily, you know? So it's kind of like, well, what do I doubt about Jamahal Hill? His armbar defense, like, because I can't really doubt his.
I think it's more it's not just doubting him, it's just the fact that he's got a mountain to climb.
But this is
like
what I mean. You're doubting him based on the opponent, but you're not doubting him based on his own ability.
No, well, I mean, I think it's just when you go and watch the Teixeira fight. Teixeira's about 55 years old. He'd gone through 100 fucking wars already to that point, and I think a lot of people could probably foresee the fact that Hill was going to beat Teixeira.
But to say, I don't really care about past opponents because it doesn't mean anything. Ilia Topuria, who did he beat? And he comes out and destroys.
What do you mean, who did he beat? He beat a ton
unfair,
of prospects on the way up.
Oh yeah,
well,
Bryce Mitchell was really high. Josh Emmett was
true, but you could easily have
as much as we like to meme Josh Emmett for being the fall away main event guy. Josh Emmett's had a fucking career and beaten some fucking boys.
Ryan
It's
Hall
not the
was
tune everyone was singing before this fight.
No,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
backtracking like now that he's.
But yeah, sorry, go
I mean,
ahead.
Ryan Hall was super hyped as well. I mean, he took out legit prospects on the way up. Compare that to this though. So Glover, fair enough, but we all kind of thought his career was over already by that point. Certainly getting thrust into a title fight was very random, and it was very much about the UFC wanting a main event with a title fight thrown on it last minute. We've got Thiago Santos on the midst of his massive losing streak.
Still knocked him out though.
Johnny Walker in the midst of his losing streak.
Silly knockout.
Jimmy Crute.
Knocked him out.
Jimmy Crute's great, but not exactly at this level. What we're talking about, that's the 4-fight win streak, and of course there's a loss to Paul Craig before that. When you compare the resume, like, who's he doing it to?
I don't care about resume because it's like Cody Garbrandt.
What do you mean you don't care about
because
resume?
it's like, it doesn't matter. Like,
It's
important.
It is interesting
when you watch a guy fight in Kansas on a Friday night, you're like, oh, that guy's going to be
that's
champion.
not what we're talking about. We're talking about the
But to be
title
fair,
shot.
but if you compare it against Pereira's resume as well, though.
Yeah, I'm like, he's like Cody
Pereira
Garbrandt.
beats Izzy.
Who
And
did Cody-
Pereira beat Sean Strickland. There's two former champions
Sean
there
Strickland's a pretty
already
good
at
one.
middleweight. Then Jan Blachowicz, another
But he's
former
talking about
champion.
before the title shot. Again, like,
Yeah.
like you can argue for,
But he beat Sean
You
Strickland.
can argue against. There's like, MMA math does not work. Like Cody Garbrandt, who did he beat? Takeya Mizugaki.
Also,
nobody really, right?
Takei Mizugaki was a really high level
He'd already
guy.
been knocked out by
No.
Cruz. Like you can counter argue everything. The point is, I'm looking at the skill set that Cody possesses. I'm not looking at who he's done it against because we don't always have the credible opponents for the contenders to
Also,
fight.
just to quickly about, and to take your Sean Strickland argument, he beat Sean Strickland. Isn't that also another really favourable matchup?
That's what I'm saying this whole matchup is. Yeah, it's another Pereira favorable matchup.
I
It's
agree
a
with that.
striker
It's a striker,
who comes
yeah.
from MMA. I mean, and this is a point that we were talking about earlier. How many times do we need to see MMA fighters go into boxing and lose before we realize you're not a specialist? What you are is you're good at everything, right? And so then when you put that and you match that up directly against somebody, that's what they do. That's it. That's all they do. And that's essentially what Pereira's come out of. He's had a way longer, more storied kickboxing career, which has translated in MMA already. We've got him going up against...
I think he's more of an
he's a
MMA
specialist.
striker as well now. He's kind of adapted to the differences in the sport. I think Pereira's fantastic. I just think Jamahal Hill's a really good challenge.
I think he's... Again, he might win. Again, I'm putting him somewhere around like a 30%. 1 in 3 chance. Those are still pretty good odds.
Sounds like a pretty sensible prediction.
Yeah, I mean...
But not one I agree with, all right? Jamal can do it, okay?
But that's the thing. Like when that main event got announced, everyone was like, kind of like, yeah, I guess.
I wasn't.
So.
was like-
that's what I'm saying. That's what I was leading on to. Is that there is a portion of the fan base. I'm assuming you're in that portion as well, where you go, fucking hell, this is a great opportunity for Jamahal to show you the level that he actually is and beat someone like Pereira and take back that belt as well. Whereas a lot of the consensus is that we kind of think that that's not going to be the case. And we're going to go into a main event that's been teed up for Pereira.
It feels like Jamahal Hill's like one of the most disrespected contenders.
He was incredibly overlooked
And maybe,
from your point of view.
Maybe you're right. Maybe he'll go in there and get destroyed and all the disrespect is justified. But like,
I mean, disrespect and fight prediction are two different things. I know people tend to take things personally in the sport because it is so individualistic. But, I mean, what we're just saying is the kickboxing two-weight world champion is probably going to beat this guy whose best win is Glover Teixeira when we all thought he was done. The difference in the argument here is I'm arguing from a tangible position. This is somebody who's been a champion in two weight classes, in MMA now as well. So, I mean, we're really talking about 4 separate belts here and, 4 very separate ways. We're talking about the caliber of opponents that he's fought. So we've got that as well. We've got this mixture of all these different things that he's actually done. And Jamahal Hill, you're just like, well, I think he's pretty good.
yeah, basically.
There's no tangible there.
I mean, I don't necessarily, like I say, we're talking about past opponents, but the past opponents obviously demonstrates the skill level that people have and their tendencies as a fighter and their strategies. But when I look at the individual matchup, Jamahal Hill's not necessarily had a lot of chance to prove himself against what you'd call quality opponents, but he's shown his capabilities and his strategy. And so I say him versus Pereira, strategically, what does that fight look like? Forget the past opponents. Let's just look at how they performed. And I think Jamahal has a very good striking game that matches up well with Alex, which is why I say it's 50-50.
Like Luke, so you're like pretty confident that Hill has like a really big chance. What is it that you see there that you go, all right, this is going to take out a guy who's just on the rise like Pereira?
Yeah, I mean, like Pereira is hittable.
Yeah.
Like he's been hit quite a lot against pretty much everyone he's fought. And fair enough, maybe at 185 that was more of a worry because the weight cut and things like that. I think he had a close fight against Jan and Yuri. I don't remember particularly Yuri landing on him. Did he land on him big?
Yeah, this is the thing. Yuri just got smashed. Kind of. I'm rewatching that fight. It's like
Yuri gets rocked in every fight as well. So.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
His own worst enemy.
Yeah. Finally, someone kind of showed those weaknesses.
I had a lot
when
of
he was up
confidence in
against
Yuri,
a top tier
which was
kickboxer.
very misplaced. So
Yeah.
I might be the same.
I'm not saying I know all, but I looked at that Yuri fight like you are for this one. And I thought it was
Because I'm really interested in that perspective of, because like I'm very much in the camp of like, oh, this is a bad fight for Hill.
I just, for me, I don't know the technical breakdown like Alex does.
to watch
just
it
feel this
on
one in your
Wednesday.
nuts.
But
or
yeah,
week.
ever since I've seen Jamahal fighting and I've seen his whole career, and he just has a weird way of going about fights,
Yeah,
and his
spooky,
striking is spooky boxing, as I say every
Spooky
time.
boxing.
50-50.
50-50 is more reasonable because it's a fight, and like I said, there's no science or backing up of my evidence really,
50-50
other than I believe from what I've seen of Jamahal and what I've seen of Alex, I believe that I think it's going to end early, but I think it could be from anyone.
So what's the overall consensus then?
About what?
You two are haters.
What the fuck are you
and
talking
I'm
we-
not a hater.
We're on the
I'm not a
Jamahal
hater. I
train.
just think
Yeah.
No. You two are soundly on the fence. You're not picking a winner at
No,
all.
I just
We're
think-
the ones picking
No,
winners.
I'm saying
we're going for the safe fucking option.
it
there,
might be
James.
fence
I
sitting.
think. I
If
think
it's
we're-
fence sitting,
Well,
I'll
safer
accept
is
it.
saying, I don't think anybody's going to win.
No,
Oh, man.
but I'm saying
No
he has
community
he
will
has
be
a
mad at
much
me.
more of a chance than you think he does.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Put some
And if that's
respect on
fence
the
sitting,
guy's
Wait,
name.
so 1 in 3rd chance is a high
yeah,
possibility.
I'm saying it's 50-50.
From my perspective, he's run through everybody. So it's like,
Apart from
show
Paul
me
Craig.
someone that
Apart
gave.
from when he lost.
Apart from Paul Craig.
Yeah.
Granted that
When
one,
he got
but
his arm snapped.
You watch that fight again. He kind of lands on top of him with an overhook. So it's like not sensible.
It's
but,
also a big mistake.
terrible mistake.
Because
But I'm
that's
talking
literally
about-
all Paul Craig has.
Yeah, well, I'm like, if Alex Pereira's going to pull guard, then that's fine. But like, I can't really look at Jamahal Hill and be like, oh yeah, look, there's a bit of a hole in the game there, and he's striking because he's just fucking smashed everybody. So it's like,
Out of the 7 or 8 fights, he's got 5 KOs. But yeah, I just want him in there more. Just some consistency up at light heavyweight. Keep having these guys fighting each other.
Just not the main event of 300.
Maybe not. No, maybe that should have been 301 like it was planned.
Well, this is what Jason said. You know, what the fuck?
They
else
didn't
are
have
gonna
any
do?
other choices.
There's no other choice.
Just stack it with
And
three title fights.
I fucking love the fight. I think it's great. You know,
I do think it is a fun fight. It's a perfectly, again, serviceable main event for any other card. They just didn't have the star power, so fuck it. We'll throw on another title fight, and I think it's solid. I mean, it's a great card.
But this got kind of heated, and if you want to see the full heat, you can do it with the unedited version of this, the channel members, and you can get that for as little as $2.99. So
Subscribe to MMA Heat.
yeah. Wait.
Karen Bryant.